kind of spooky. Venkman, it's ahead. It's full speed ahead. What an eyeful. Let's split. Great car. Yikes, it's Highway Haunter.
The real Ghostbusters, each sold separately.
Ghostbusters! Careful, Janine, this airport's haunted. Wow, great plane. It's air sickness. Run for it. Hey, mister, how about a lift? This wicked ride.
The real Ghostbusters, each sold separately.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Retro Inc. Episode 63, I believe it is. Can you believe that? Crikey indeed. Yeah. There's just the two of us today. Just Mr. Jeremy and Mr. Adam doing the show. Hello there. No Andy this week. We're not going to, humiliate him like he does you.
What? Give him an ultimatum.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. No. But it's been a busy week. We have been viewing various things, both retro-wise and very modern. And we're going to go with yourself, Jeremy, because you've got a heap of stuff that you've been doing. And certainly you've been to the flicks, haven't you? So let's start with the movies that you've seen in the cinema this week.
I was fortunate enough to watch Dark Phoenix this week.
Fortunate?
Well, fortunate is because I like going to the cinema, so it's a trip out and I have ice cream, which was nice. The ice cream was the highlight of my time at the cinema viewing this movie, I must admit.
Right.
I was really disappointed in it. I would check out the reviews. I'll form my own opinion because I'm going to go anyway. But I like to figure out what other people think. And when I watched Godzilla the other week, Empire Magazine, who are my kind of go-to reviewers, I kind of quite often agree with them. They gave Godzilla 1 star and they gave Dark Phoenix 3. I'd happily have swapped them round. To be fair, Dark Phoenix really wasn't very good. If I'm honest, it's not that the actors aren't good. The acting is all perfectly acceptable. There's a couple of good action scenes in it. It was just put together very badly, and it wasn't. I didn't care who lived or died, or who was a good guy or who was a bad guy. Just wasn't a very good movie, which is a shame, and especially as it's the last of this iteration of X-Men movies. It's the last one. They kind of went out of a whimper rather than a bang, I fear.
Well, that seems to be the consensus, doesn't it? I mean, wherever you look, there seems to be a lot of bad press for Dark Phoenix. Now, cast-wise, as you say, great cast. And unfortunately, the production wasn't up to scratch. The direction wasn't up to scratch. What really? Where did it really fall for you?
I couldn't put my finger on it. I just didn't care who lived or died. You just didn't get invested in any of the characters. And the characters we've been around for 7 years now. It's not like they're new. We know who they are. But I just think that the reboot of the X-Men characters hadn't been that good, I don't think. I mean, even none of the trailers really made me want to go and watch it. And if I had to pay to go and see it, I wouldn't. I've got my, Cineworld card where I can go as often as I want, and I try and get every week. And I've watched John Wick 3, which was really good, the Godzilla movie, which was really good, and then there's this, which was a bit of a disappointment.
What a shame.
It's not... Yeah, I mean...
Of the X-Men movies, though, which one has really stood out for you as being the most outstanding one of the saga?
It depends. I mean, Logan is a great movie. I really, really like Logan. It's a grown-up movie, and I don't think it fits in the X-Men universe that well because it's very grown-up. But I really like Logan. None of the new ones with Mark Fassbender and James McAvoy would be in my favourite of the X-Men movies. I don't really like any of them. Probably the first one, if I'm honest. The first one is really, really good.
Yeah, I really like the first and second one. I wonder if there's a way of actually skipping the younger versions, so we can just go and watch X-Men 2. Last Stand, is that the third one?
Yeah.
So third one, and then go.
An ironic title because they're back a lot.
Yes,
The Last Stand.
they are. And then, do you think we could watch Logan after that, and then skip all the young cast?
Well, Logan. Hugh Jackman did one with all of them. You could watch that one, I think. But yeah, it's none of them particularly gripped me.
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, you're filling some pretty impressive shoes because Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen made those roles theirs, and I think that as good as Fassbender and McAvoy are, they're not the originals.
Yeah, they've done a brilliant casting, but unfortunately it hasn't quite hit the mark, has it? And so we're going to go into the new MCU with some of those characters or none of those characters.
Well, I think none of the actors will be returning. I don't think there'll be a complete reboot of X-Men. And I think they'll probably wait. They'll probably bring in the Fantastic Four before they'll bring any new X-Men in.
That's very likely, yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of the new X-Men by Grant Morrison. And we saw, we've seen the classic sort of yellow suits. And in Deadpool 2, you saw him wearing the new X-Men stuff. And that's what I'd like to see. A lot more of those kind of characters that appeared in Deadpool. They're more fun.
I'm happy for Deadpool to run off and be... all the X-Men films from now on will be based around him. And Cable and everyone else who's there. I enjoy it. The original Deadpool was absolutely brilliant.
It is.
I didn't like the second one quite as much, but the first one is just incredible.
Yeah, I think the reason why the second one failed is because the first one is just so good. And,
I wouldn't say the second one failed. The second one is a good movie, but the first one,
in comparison,
is just brilliant. Yeah.
So, not a hit for you for the Dark Phoenix movie. So, out of 10, how would you rate that film?
I would...
Out of 10.
Out of 10, I'd give it probably 3, maybe 4 for the effect.
Right.
4 out of 10 I'll go with.
Okay, so a low score for Dark Phoenix. What else have you been catching up on?
Quite a few things. I finished watching The Umbrella Academy, which was very good. I really enjoyed that. Did you watch that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I binged it as soon as it came out, and can't wait to see this next series, which has now obviously been marked down for next year. So great news for that.
Yep, look to that, can't we?
Indeed, the characters I think are. You get a lot of backstory from them, from the flashbacks. I love the child actor who can, Warp Through Time. I think he's just superb.
Five.
Mary J. Blige was brilliant in it as well.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah.
I'm sure she'll be back. She looked a bit crispy by the end of it.
Indeed, she did, yeah. Yeah, really fantastic.
Everybody else.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed the Umbrella Academy. I've started rewatching Happy.
Yeah. So Series 2 is now available on Netflix.
Yeah, so I thought I'd watch Series 1 again because I think you've got to kind of get your head into how weird that program is.
It is. That's written again by
weird.
Grant Morrison, so...
Yeah. It's weird, it's ultra-violent, but it's just so much fun. I'm really enjoying watching that again.
It's awesome, isn't it? It's awesome.
I watched Bad Milo, which is one of the strangest movies you'll ever watch. It's about someone with a monster that lives up his butt, really. That's what it's about.
Right.
Comes out and attacks. But it's very funny. It's not one you take very seriously, but it's pretty gross and funny. I watched some of Dragonheart today, but I recorded it because I think the kids would really enjoy that, so I stopped watching it. But
Dragonheart stars too.
Dennis Quaid, he's got the voice of Sean Connery as the dragon. It's got half the cast of every Harry Potter film you can imagine in it, because English actors seem to be to a penny, and the bad guys, English actors. But the CG held up pretty well, considering how early the CG was and how much it moves on. I think there were practical effects in it as well, and I think in the early days they didn't over-rely on the use of CG, whereas nowadays you can't have a movie without
it,
green screen. And, it just even, putting blood or, bullets ricocheting, it's just, there's no need for most of it. I moan about it. I've also watched Jurassic World Lost Kingdom, because I've not seen that for a while. I enjoy it. It's not as good as Jurassic World. I love Jurassic World, but Lost Kingdom is good.
Very good.
I watched Jaws because it is one of the best films ever.
Okay.
It will always be in my top 5 movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch very regularly because it's a brilliant movie. And anyone who disagrees with me is just wrong. I've been going through watching a lot of Dirty Harry movies. I watched The Enforcer this week, which was really good. I really enjoyed that one. I started watching Bottom. I saw that on Netflix, and it's the 5th anniversary of Rick Mayall's death, so I thought I'll give that a go.
Now, did you ever happen to see Bottom live?
I have since seen it. I didn't go and watch them live. I have seen it now, and it was quite funny.
Yeah,
I really wish I'd gone to see it. Because I think the thing with Bottom, I didn't really watch Bottom when it first came out. I think because I was such a massive Young Ones fan. They tried Filthy Rich and Cat Flap, which was a bit of a car crash.
Yeah, it was.
The first episode of Bottom...
Sorry, we're going to say we also had the Dangerous Brothers, which featured on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I think that was first. That's where they first really kind of did anything. But the first episode of Bottom wasn't very good, and I was like, oh. And I think I only ever watched the first episode and didn't watch any others. Because the second episode and the others I've watched after that have been quite good.
Oh, so awesome. Yeah, they are.
I'll enjoy it. I don't think it's as clever as the Young Ones, but it's just the Dangerous Brothers in the set, really, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
I watched Fast and the Furious 900 or whatever one it is, the one that's on English Netflix at the moment, but that might be my deep cleaning movie of the week.
That's Fast and Furious 8, I think it is, isn't it?
It was quite good. I quite enjoyed it. I must say I enjoyed it. I mean, the first one I've ever watched, I didn't need to pick up any backstory. I figured it out pretty quick. Quite fun. I enjoyed that. I have been watching The Ruins, which is a movie on Netflix about carnivorous plants. If you've not seen it, it's actually quite good.
Right.
You might like that because it's a bit of a slow burner.
I like those.
It's a bit of some people don't find it, but they go to a pyramid that's off the beaten track in Mexico. They're suddenly surrounded by a load of locals, and they're not allowed off the pyramid, which is covered in foliage, which is quite hungry. It's the best way to describe it. But yeah, you might enjoy that.
And that's called
The Ruins.
The Ruins. Okay.
I think, mind you, that might be on. I think it's on Amazon Prime. So.
Amazon Prime, yes.
But see if you can find it.
Yeah.
You might enjoy that.
Thank you.
And then I watched some more TV shows. I've started watching Good Omens, which I'm a massive fan of the book. I love the book. Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, two of my favourite authors. And you got Michael Sheen and David Tennant, who were two of my favourite actors. And I think in my head I thought it was going to be the best show ever. It wasn't. It's a good TV show. I think in my head I hyped it up more than I expected to. And it's good and it's funny, but I kind of think, it could have been a little bit better.
I've watched the first episode, and I thought it was unbelievably good for a first episode. And I think from what I've read and heard that it's very, very true to the spirit of the book.
It is, yeah. Shut out the door.
Which is very important, because I think if you're going to do a transfer from book to film, if it's not true to the spirit of it, then you're going to lose a lot of potential viewers that would like to see their book come to life.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that it's not good. It's really good. But I don't know, I think I probably expected too much of it, which is the problem. You hype something up in your head because it's been floating around kind of on the ether for a little while. And I enjoyed it. And it can only get better as well. I've watched 3 episodes, I think, and I know how the story goes, so I know it's going to progress and get a bit more crazy and more fun. I watched the first episode of the new series of Black Mirror, which is weird.
It is weird.
I know that watching Black Mirror, one of the main things people go is weird, but it was really weird.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really good, but that's weird. And leaves you questioning a lot of things. I started watching a program called iZombie.
Ah, yes.
I'd never seen before.
It's brilliant.
It's quite fun.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And so if you love Lucifer and you haven't seen iZombie, then iZombie, you're going to love it. It's great. Yeah. It's got a similar kind of humour to it, I think.
Yeah, it is really funny, and I've been enjoying it.
She's a great actress.
A couple of episodes, but it's been good fun.
Yeah, the lab technician who she works with, British actor. I've got a funny feeling he's been in Doctor Who.
Probably. He's a British actor, most people have.
Yeah, I've seen him in something. Yeah, it's really great. It's really great. So the premise of the story is basically a nurse gets invited out to a boat party. And there's a zombie outbreak, and she gets bitten and wakes up, and her hair is the different colour. It's all white, and she's obviously got a thirst for brains. And she kind of has to sort of hide her secret by working in the mortuary or the morgue, isn't it? The morgue. Yeah. So she gets access to bits of brain, and it's very funny, and it's great humour in that, which I thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's great. So that's good.
And last but by no means least, I've watched a few episodes of Haven, which you've not seen, have you?
No, I haven't seen that. Now, where are you watching Haven?
Just on the telly box.
Is it on the telly box?
Yeah, just on the normal telly box it is. Yeah. On Sky, just look for Haven and you should find it.
Right.
Haven is based around a town called Haven, where they've got troubles, and the troubles are certain people there have powers that they may or may not have control over, and there's the local policeman gets some, and an FBI agent turns up to investigate it, and it's a bit kind of fringe X-Files-esque, but it's really good fun. Really, really good. You should definitely, if you've not watched it yet, give it a go.
I will watch that via Now TV Box, I think, because that's probably the only way I can watch it. Wow. Now, the news this week that DC's Swamp Thing aired its first episode, and which you've watched, and then swiftly announced that before the first season has even finished airing, that it's been cancelled.
Well, before the second episode came out, they've cancelled it.
Indeed. So, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the first episode, as I know you've seen it?
I thought it was really good. It's probably better than a lot of the DC movies that I've seen. It's much more grown up. It's quite scary. There's a lot of the Thing in it, the effects and the look of it is quite the Thing. John Carpenter's movie. I watched it with Freddie, and Freddie will watch almost anything. Swamp Thing freaked him out a little bit.
He did.
Actually, he was a little bit freaked out, but not too bad, obviously. But yeah, he was a little bit freaked out. It was that good that it managed to freak my ironclad son out a little bit. But it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a travesty that they've aired one episode and gone, no, we'll cancel that, because it was great. And I really can't wait to see what... I mean, there is another episode available already. I'm going to wait to watch it with my son. But I can't believe that they've cancelled it already. It's ridiculous.
Possibly be the logic behind this decision?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you can cancel a show before the viewing figures will come in. Now they've cancelled it, no one's going to watch it. You know what I mean? You're going to think, well, there's no point in getting invested in these characters, because most series will end on a cliffhanger, and if there's a cliffhanger at the end of this season, you think, well, I'm never going to find out what happens. What's the point?
It's a stupid thing to announce, isn't it, before the season's even finished? It doesn't make any... It makes no sense whatsoever. What a ridiculous decision that executives at Warner Brothers have probably made, and that, like you say, it's gonna put a lot of people off, even venturing to go and make an effort to see it, or they'll make an effort to go and see it, and you get the same backlash that Lucifer got, which was.
I think with Lucifer, you had 3 seasons of Lucifer, so you managed to get a hardcore fan base, and I don't think you're not going to get it with Swamp Thing, because people just think, well, it's been cancelled, it must be rubbish, I won't bother watching it. Which is
right.
Travesty. It's such a shame, because it is a really good... I mean, I've watched all of these. You know, I watch everything, because I haven't got a life. But I would say it's better than Iron Fist and Jessica Jones, and and they, they're Marvel, but they got a few seasons before the big acquisition, and that's probably the reason they weren't renewed for more. But yeah, it's such a shame. It's a really good show. I mean, it might be that every episode from now on is an absolute car crash and it's terrible, and the execs have watched it all and gone, well, the first episode was great, but the rest are rubbish. But I'm looking forward to finding out.
Where did you watch something?
On the telly, on Showbox.
Right.
While watching because you can't watch it in England, so.
Yes, we have this issue, don't we, with some of these apps, which is a great shame. It is a great shame, because I've got the Swamp Thing graphic novels. Snyder, I think his name is, who rebooted it for DC, who was doing a lot of the Batman stuff. And so I went out and got Swamp Thing, and I really absolutely loved it. And I believe that Alan Moore did Swamp Thing many, many moons ago, and I think I've also got those in my collection too. Yeah, that is really sad news, man. I can't believe they've done that. Really looking forward to it. I just hope that this Watchmen TV series doesn't get cut and axed before that finishes, because that would be a great shame.
But have you seen the trailer?
Yes.
Does it make you, as a big Watchmen fan, does it make you want to watch it?
Not really. I think the problem is that, again, there is the Before Watchmen books, and there are some other bits and pieces that this is tied to. So before I think anybody has understood that there is that stuff, this might put a lot of people off. Well, they're going to see this trailer go, well, it doesn't look particularly exciting. It looks a little bit confusing. So we'll just have to wait and see when we get more episodes and we can get to start to really talk about it, just how good it is or isn't.
I think
the trailer itself, yeah. I thought the trailer was a little bit lukewarm.
I think with a lot of these comic book adaptations, they can't think about whether people have read the comics that much, because a lot more people watch the movies and the TV shows and read the comics.
They do. Yeah.
I've never read a comic, graphic novel, or anything of the like particularly. I read the Alien one once, but so I like to come to these things a bit that they're an unknown, and I think they've got to be very careful. They've got to be fairly loyal to the books and the fan base, but they've still got to make it accessible to the mainstream public, which is what most of us are.
Yes. Indeed. The great shame, I think, is that Hellboy, the recent movie, wasn't actually a TV show, because I think that would have done extremely well if we'd have had that over a period of, say, 6 or 8 episodes, rather than a film that really bombed bad. And, you know, I'm going to go and see it because, well, I will buy it probably on Blu-ray when it's released, and that will come out pretty soon, because it looks like one of those films that'll be released for home viewing very quickly. Because I'm a big Hellboy fan. I love Mike Mignola's work, and I didn't go to the cinema because I think reviews put me off, quite frankly. And this is the sort of thing that kind of really stops your enthusiasm for things when you hear that a show's been cancelled.
Well, I think the problem with Hellboy was it was in and out of the cinema before I even had a chance to watch it, because I watched it. It
was out of my local cinema in Eastbourne and Brighton within a week.
Yeah.
It was gone. So, very sad.
I think it's a shame. I didn't think they needed to reboot Hellboy, because I think that Ron Perlman was brilliant for it, and I really don't understand when there was a clamour for a third Ron Perlman movie. They went, you know what? We'll get David Harbour and we'll do it completely different. Why not just please the fans and put a third one out? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I think certainly that I don't think there's any problems with the cast. I think David Harbour was great. I think Mila Jovovich was superb. I think Ian McShane was fabulous, and Sasha Lane. I think this had a lot of problems with the director, and I think those above him, that started meddling, and so that it had to be edited a certain way and things had to change, which was a great shame, because I think if it had just been left in the hands of the director to do his job, I think things would have ended up a lot better for the Hellboy film.
Well, I haven't seen it yet. I do want to watch it, but it's not available anywhere for me to watch at the moment, so I just have to wait.
So before we talk about another reboot, news also broke this week that Sigourney Weaver has claimed that she will be reprising her role as Dana Barrett in director Jason Reitman's upcoming Ghostbusters movie. Now, her former co-stars Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd will also join her, which is great news. And in an interview with Parade magazine, Weaver said that she will be who portrayed musician Dana Barrett, that Peter Venkman's love interest in Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 is being confirmed, and that she'll return for Reitman's film, which has previously been described as a sequel to the original films and not a reboot or a continuation of the previous 2016 reboot. This is the next chapter of the original franchise, so it's not a reboot. What happened in the 80s happened in the 80s, the comment from the director was. And he said it's set in present day. And actually, Reitman is the son of the original film's director, Ivan. According to Parade magazine, Weaver wouldn't reveal any plans about the movie except to confirm that she'll play Dana and not a new character. And it's going to be crazy working with the guys again, she said. Now, what do you think about this news, mate? Because you've seen this reboot and I have as well, of Ghostbusters with the all-female cast. Ghostbusters 2, we both agree, wasn't fantastic.
I thought Ghostbusters 2 was terrible.
Yeah. Now, I think Andy liked it. Did he like it? I can't remember.
Probably he likes all kinds of rubbish, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I think he liked it for some reason. I can't remember. But so, what do you think of this news that they're making another Ghostbusters movie in present day with obviously the old cast? Is it worth rebooting? Do you think? And what did you think of the reboot with the old cast?
I really, really, really enjoyed the reboot. I don't care what everyone else says. It's a much better kids movie. If you watch the original Ghostbusters, it was a product of its day. There's a lot of smoking, there's a lot of swearing, there's a lot of sexual references and things like that.
Isn't there?
Younger children of our, Alana and Freddie's age, would be uncomfortable sitting there watching with their parents. Whereas the reboot, there's none of that. The cast are brilliant. All the women in it are fantastic. I really enjoyed the little cameo from the original cast as well. I don't get why it gets all the hate. And if I were to sit down and watch a Ghostbusters movie, I'd probably choose that one. So there.
So the reboot was directed by Paul Feig, and the cast and crew. Now we had. Who do we have playing? Who was in that film? We had Charles Dance.
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy, yeah.
She was fantastic. I really like Melissa McCarthy. I know she gets a lot of grief. I really like Melissa McCarthy. She's good. She's good in almost everything. I haven't seen some bad movies, but almost everything she's good in.
So it's Zach Woods, Kristen Wiggs. We had Ed Begley Jr., Charles Dance, John Milheiser, Ben Harris, Melissa McCarthy, Karen Sonny, and Kate McKinnon. Now, yeah. Now, I think Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth was brilliant in that movie.
Bill Murray was in it.
Yeah, the original cast came back where they could, where they were still alive. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm not that interested in third Ghostbusters movie, to be fair. It's not interesting me at all.
Rick Moranis, that's the key, I think, whether we're going to get Rick Moranis.
I don't think you will, because he's pretty much retired, hasn't he?
He has, hasn't he?
Yeah, he lost his wife and then just didn't bother with movies after that, I don't think. No. I think he's just had enough.
Harold Ramis as well, and Annie Potts.
Well, Harold Ramis can't come back, can he?
No. We had Ernie Hudson.
I'd like Ernie Hudson to come back because I think he was good.
Now, this was 1984. It was such a massive film, wasn't it, Ghostbusters? Huge film. And of course,
I think I watched it 5 times at the cinema.
Yeah, the soundtrack was really huge. Obviously, the single was. I've got the single on a 12-inch picture disc that glow in the dark.
Well, the marketing for the original movie was brilliant. It was, you knew what the Ghostbusters were a long time before the movie came out. And I remember going to school on the bus and seeing the, going past all the bus stops and seeing all the Ghostbusters adverts and the lunch boxes and all that kind of stuff coming out.
The logo was brilliant, wasn't it? Just the no entry sign with the ghost popping out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an iconic look, isn't it? An iconic logo.
And the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, I mean, I still see those figures in second-hand shops and fairs and things like that. Often see those figures there. Ghostbusters 2 was released in 1989. Probably like yourself, went to go and see it at the cinema.
Yep.
And it was the discovery of a massive river of ectoplasm, wasn't it? And a resurgence of spectral activity that allowed the staff of Ghostbusters to revive their business. And it missed something, didn't it? I don't know what it missed.
Everything the first one had.
Which was what? What do you think it missed?
The first one was very well written. It was smart and funny. It didn't gel with me at all. Second one.
Yeah.
So I watched it in cinema, and I'm not entirely sure I've ever watched it again. I might have watched it with Freddie once, but it does nothing for me. Which is why the third one doesn't interest me that much. I would rather see a sequel to the all-female one than a third Ghostbusters movie. Well, controversy, I know.
Do you know this little bit of trivia that the kid who tells Ray that according to his dad the Ghostbusters are full of CRAP is played by Jason Reitman, the son of the director Ivan Reitman, who's going to be directing this new film.
Right, fair enough.
So he was actually in that movie, and there was a cameo appearance as well of Slimmer, the Green Ghost of Ghostbusters, which has prompted the fact that in years between the two films, the cartoon series, The Real Ghostbusters, which was in 1986, introduced the idea that the Slimer was living at the firehouse as the Ghostbusters' pet. The film was the cartoon series was so popular with the children that they put Slimer in the film. I think it's going to be good. Did you know?
Do you remember the Ghostbusters game?
I do, yeah.
It tried to have speech. I remember it trying to have speech, and I remember that we used to mock Pink Slimy at school because it kind of went. Didn't sound anything like it.
Nothing at all, did it?
Nothing at all.
You know, do you remember the role of? Do you remember Vigo in the Ghostbusters film?
Yeah.
It was played by Willem von Homburg, and all his lines were dubbed by Max von Sydow. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he dubbed his voiceover.
And they're just getting to play the part then.
Well, indeed. Who knows? There was another cameo by Brian Doyle Murray, the psychiatrist in the mental hospital, which was played by Bill Murray's brother. But originally the producers planned on having the crashed Hindenburg appear as a ghostly airship, but they dumped this in favour of the apparitions coming off the Titanic. So there we go. Ghostbusters reboot, but not a reboot. It's another sequel to the original films, which we'll wait and see.
What about you? Are you looking forward to it?
Lukewarm, really, mate. I think the thing is, I quite like when things finish where they finished. But we could be pleasantly surprised. I do hope we're going to be pleasantly surprised by this. I mean, it'll be nostalgic. Be nostalgic, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, but nostalgia will only get you so far. I think that there's been a lot of sequels that have been 30 years in the making that have really been pointless.
Indeed.
I love Bill and Ted. Do I think we need a third one 30 years after the last one? No, I don't. Will I watch it? Of course I will. Am I excited about it? No, not at all.
Well, what I'm really looking forward to is the home release of Alita Battle Angel, which I can't wait to watch that film again. Did you go and see Alita Battle Angel?
I did. I did indeed, and I didn't enjoy it at all.
Right. Well, I did. I thought it was fantastic. I took my daughter, who was very reluctant to go and see it. My son loved it. I loved it. And at the end of the film, I looked at my daughter, who was just riveted to the screen, even though the film had finished. And I said, "Did you enjoy that?" She just nodded. So I thought, she loved it. So I'm waiting for the home release of that. I've rewatched Shazam again, which I really like that film. It's very funny. It's really good.
I like to watch that again. It was a good film.
It's really great. I've watched Legends of the is it Legend of Guardians? The Zack Snyder movie about Soren the barn owl kidnapped from his peaceful forest home. It's a sort of.
I know the one you mean. I haven't watched it. I know the one you mean.
Yeah, I watched that the other night because I wanted to watch something completely. What's the word? not too brain taxing, and something a bit pretty, so I got up that. Yeah, new series of Happy I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm going to rewatch Spider-Man Homecoming, which is now on Netflix, as I did Snatch as well, the Guy Ritchie movie. Now, I did a little review and popped it into our Facebook group about King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, which is available now on Amazon Prime. And this is another movie that massively bombed at the cinema, and I think it cost I think it was Warner Brothers. I think it cost them like 150 million in lost income because it didn't do very well. But I absolutely loved this film. I thought it was so good. I'd highly recommend giving it a go because I think we're missing out here. Again, you've got a lot of Guy Ritchie's presence. I think the acting's great in it. It's a really good cast. It's got a phenomenal soundtrack. I mean, the music in it is just amazing. And even some of the pieces of music that are in it are 1,000 years old. So it's got a lot of authentic stuff to it. Now, what people might know is that, there was no King Arthur. So this is,
dare you?
Well, there wasn't. So, it is a fantasy film. So it does have some fantasy elements to it. I mean, i.e. massive, huge, gigantic elephants, which I think a lot of people when they first saw it thought, what? But of course, King Arthur is a tale. So, loved that. Really, really loved that.
I will give it a go under your recommendation.
Yes, you should, because I think you'll like it. It's a good romp. It moves along quickly, and it's got some phenomenal fight scenes. Really awesome. So yeah, give it a go, mate. It's very light. Not too brain taxing, but I think you'd enjoy it.
I think most people were put off by the David Beckham cameo in it. People heard David Beckham were in it, and everyone was like, "Oh."
It was great. Actually, it was really great. Really, really good. I'm looking forward to watching on Netflix I Am Mother, which on a lot of Facebook groups that I'm on, people are really talking about this. And this is a story following humanity's mass extinction. A teen is raised alone by her maternal droid and finds her entire world shaken when she encounters another human. I've heard some really good reviews of it and reports of it, so I'm going to give that a go this week. I've watched The Last Kingdom, which is also on Netflix. Have you watched that?
I haven't watched that, no.
This is Alfred the Great and defending his kingdom from Norse invaders. Born a Saxon, but raised by Vikings, and he seeks to claim his ancestral birthright. Really good, mate. Definitely worth a look. Season 1 is available there, and I would give that a go, mate, because I think this might be up your street. And especially if we've just finished Game of Thrones, so it might be quite nice to sort of get back into something of a similar nature. Right. Lucifer news.
Yeah. That's good. We're pleased about that.
We are very pleased because the wonderful series Lucifer is not just returning for a final series, but, it's been a great success for Netflix, this particular series 4. Now, if you'd watched series 1 to 3 on Amazon Prime or wherever else you could have watched it, you would agree wholeheartedly that the cutting of this series was absolutely ridiculous. Now, again, why would they stop a series that had a huge fan base, mate?
I think they're just weird because they're TV shows that seem to go on forever. I don't know anyone who enjoys, and you think, why are they renewing this kind of stuff? And Lucifer, which is, we love it, but it had a massive fan base. I mean, when I went to Comic-Con last year, Tom Ellis was there, and the queue to see Tom Ellis was huge.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that really, really like this TV show, and it is a wonderful show.
It is brilliant, isn't it? It is brilliant. And I think this is one of those series that I think when this does finish, and next year we will see the last series 5, this is something that I will be buying.
Yeah, definitely.
I will definitely buy this series because I could rewatch these. No problem at all. Yeah. In fact, I'm even thinking about rewatching rewatching them again.
Yeah.
Because they are that good. They are that good. So, great news. Tom Ellis, who plays Lucifer, is just a brilliant actor. Now, he was in the TV show in the UK. What was he in before?
Oh, that Miranda.
Yes, he was in Miranda, wasn't he?
I've never watched it.
I never had watched it either, and I was a bit shocked when I saw him in that, and then he was talking about this TV show Miranda because that was a huge success. Killing Eve. Have you managed to watch Killing Eve at all?
The first season I watched, and it's incredible. I've not watched any of the new ones yet. I'll probably wait till it's all out and have a binge. I like to do that these days.
Yes. Talking of binging, I'm going to be obviously seeing you very shortly, and I want you to binge watch Buck Rogers, because we did talk about TV shows on our last
Where
episode.
can I watch that?
I don't know, but I'll give you the DVDs of it so you can watch it that way, perhaps.
I don't know if it's on any of the apps that I've... I mean, again, I don't watch a lot through streaming because I've got Amazon Prime and I've got Netflix, and I go to the cinema and watch everything that comes out.
Yeah, because I think, there are these TV shows, and we were talking about on our last episode, that are definitely worth rewatching, and Fringe is one of those. I know damn well that if I've got Lucifer in my collection, I will rewatch that. Again, the original TV series is definitely worth rewatching. It's such a great show, as is Battlestar Galactica. And, when The Big Bang Theory has finally finished, we're going to...
I've seen the last episode. It was very good.
I'm yet to watch it yet, and I'm again, that's something that I think I will probably. I think I've got the Blu-ray box set of 1 to 7, so I shall be getting rid of that, obviously, and getting the complete series, because I think that's something that again is binge worthy, isn't it? You could just stick that on.
I think it's akin to Friends. You can always have it on in the background, and it's just something you can just dip in and out of. Watch. You don't need to watch them in order. You can just watch an episode and enjoy it for what it is. It's a clever, funny TV show that you can just enjoy.
Like Red Dwarf, which is currently on Netflix, all 8 series of it.
Well, I have.
You were starting, weren't you?
Watching them.
Yeah.
I've not got around to start doing it yet because I've had a busy week of watching, as you probably noticed.
Yes, you have.
I might struggle a bit soon, having less time on my hands soon. So
yes,
we'll have to see.
Indeed. I went out yesterday afternoon to Brighton, and I had a little wander around a couple of shops, and I bumped into one of our fellow listeners and Facebook friends, Dave, and we were looking at some comics and some figures on the pegs, and I noticed there's a heap of new Predator figures and Alien figures that just been.
That?
Yeah, these aren't. I don't think these are McFarlane. These might be Mattel. I can't remember who made these. I really can't. But they look crackingly good, mate. Definitely worth looking. I saw a lot of Black Series. There was the Luke's in Stormtrooper disguise. There was General Grievous. I was hoping to find a Gamorrean guard. That's the one thing I'm looking at. But, one thing I've really found very tricky now, and you're probably the same, is picking up franchise toys. And with now the demise of Toys R Us and going into Smith stores with yourself, there was no Black Series in there at all, was there?
No, but again,
and a lot of these sort of
the Black
high-end
Series,
stuff, yeah.
If the Black Series and things like that, they're not toys. We can glam them up as much as we want, but they're collector's items. They're figurines to leave in a box and put on display. They're not toys, and a lot of them are quite high in there. A lot of them are quite pricey, so you're not going to find things. I mean, you can get every single WWE wrestler from the last 30 years in there because kids are going to play with them. They're not collector's items. And I think with the Black Series and all the different iterations they keep bringing out of Star Wars toys, they're not toys anymore. I think it's a shame because the quality of the sculpts has gone up and up and up to a degree where people are literally buying them just to put on display. I think that the thing about a Funko is a thing, you can't play with a Funko. It's there just to look at. It's a figurine. And I think that's where, nowadays, wherever you go, you find Funkos. They're in Tesco's, they're in if you go to a con, they are everywhere because they are what they say they are. The little figure in a box for £5, £10, £15, and they don't pretend to be anything else. And I think that the reason you can find so many of them in Smiths is the low price point of them. When you've got to spend 30 quid on a figure, people just aren't buying them. Not someone like that. They'll find it online, but they won't find it there.
Yeah, I mean the prices were $29.95 and the Grievous was $39.99, or whatever, and
that's not a toy figure.
That's not a toy figure.
If you bought a kid a toy for £35, and when we were kids, our Star Wars figures beat the granny out of each other. That's what they did. They shot each other. They fell off the walls in your garden, and you threw mud at them and all kind. If you caught your kids doing what we did with our $1.99 figures to a figure that cost £35, you go mad.
Yeah.
And these aren't toys for kids to play with anymore. That's not what they're made for. And I think it's a real shame. I think they're losing sight of what Star Wars is. It's fun, and they should make figures for kids to play with that cost a £5, and they can throw mud balls at them.
Well, I'm waiting to receive my retro collection of the Star Wars figures. I don't know if you know these figures.
Yeah, I've seen them. They look nice.
Yeah, so they're on the way. And again, I'm not going to be opening these damn things, am I?
No, of course not.
They're just going to arrive. I'm going to have them on card. I'll stick them out on display for a week. I'll start thinking, the sun's going to fade the packaging, and I'll put them back in the cardboard box they came in and put them in the loft.
Yeah, it's that old Toy Story 2 or 3, whichever one it is.
Yeah.
That's why I like my betas. I like my vintage Star Wars figures that are betas because they've had a life, and they're toys. At the end of the day, they're toys, and they've been in some kids' mind through space, and they've done the Kestrel run, and they've been to the spice mines, and they've been through asteroid fields, and they've been shot and blown up, and they've had a life. And they've retired.
Yeah. I mean, mine didn't leave the house unless they had their weapons with them, and essentially what would often happen was they would come home without their weapons.
Yeah.
I didn't leave the house without pockets full of figures. Just took them everywhere I went. These obviously now, as you say, great face sculpts, really good paint apps, and they look better in the box, don't they?
Well, they're just not toys anymore. They're like the NECA figures. The NECA figures are incredible to look at. I mean, they're beautiful looking things, but they're not toys. And I don't think NECA markets them as toys, which is why you don't see them in. You wouldn't have never seen them in Toys R Us. You wouldn't see them in Smiths because they're a specialist, high-end, expensive display piece, which is what your Grievous would be. I mean, I'm sure they're Grievous toys from the prequels when they were out in the day, and he wasn't 30 odd quid. It was a toy you played with, and you lost all his lightsabers within the first 2 weeks. But it was still a toy.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, and certainly when these retro figures arrive, I'll be doing a review on our channel, on the YouTube channel, just looking at them closely and looking at the original figure next to the new retro collection.
I mean, they're lovely. They're lovely looking figures. Obviously, I think people are going to have to try and get the sticker off carefully or choose to leave it on there. What are you going to do?
I will leave them on there because they came with it. But if you want to know how to get them off, the best way would be the hairdryer treatment. And literally heat the sticker up and peel it off that way. Any residue that's left of any of the glue, then use some lighter fluid on a cloth and just very gently wipe away. But the hairdryer will remove them. It's always works. And again, I've seen a lot of reviews online. People removing them with a hairdryer seems to work perfectly well. So a little bit of picking, a little bit of heat, do the job. But I'll leave them on.
You're going to leave yours on, yeah?
Yeah, I am, because they come with it on there. And if I happen to pick up a spare here and there, maybe I'll unpack one. But I just hope that they do the first 12 first. This is what I'm really hoping, is that they don't just they bring out these first 6, which of the first 12, and then they start bringing out random figures, because that would be very bad if they do that. If they brought them out in the order that they were released in, they're on a winner.
That's what they need to do, but, and the ironic thing is, when you get to people like a Man and Yakface, the original figures out of a box will be worth more than the repro one. For sure.
There's a lot of stuff online about reproductions. Reproduction weapons, but now the figures being reproduced, like for example Snaggletooth, Blue Snaggletooth, and Yakface. The prices are extraordinary. So, just for an example, a Blue Snaggletooth will cost you minimum of $200 in a very beaten up way, $250 for a decent figure. The Yakface, the same price. So, if just those 2 figures there, you're looking at probably £500. Now you can get reproduction of those figures for £40 each. They don't have a country of origin on the back of the leg or the year that they came out, so you can definitely differentiate between the original and these reproductions. What are your views on that? I know you had one, didn't you? Didn't you have a repro?
I had. I think I had a repro Blue Snag and a repro Yakface, and they were just made from a cast. They weren't articulated in any way, shape, or form. They were just painted, and it was just for filling out a gap in the display until I could afford to buy them.
Yeah.
I wasn't ever going to tell anyone I had a real Yakface. I haven't got a real Cape Jawa, but I've got a repro cape on one, and I don't have a problem with it, because I'm not claiming that it's real. I don't have a problem with people having repro stuff too much, because the people that have got the originals are charging such exorbitant amounts of money that it makes them unobtainable. You can't tell me. You see these people with, hundreds of stormtroopers. They got these wonderful dioramas of like the Emperor walking through got his shuttle landed, walking along with Vader, and then stormtroopers either side. They've all got weapons. You cannot tell me that every single one of them blasters is real, because that would be worth thousands if that were the case.
It's a good point. I mean, we don't know, so we can only speculate. But yeah, you're right.
If it's real or not, I tell you what, they look cool.
They do.
They look cool. Yeah. I don't have a problem either way.
No, I think there's a massive snobbery.
I mean, when I first got back into collecting and I'm doing the repro, a lot of the stuff I did would be horribly frowned upon by a lot of the collecting Nazis. And I just think it's a shame.
Yeah.
Just let people collect stuff. And like I said, if you're trying to sell stuff on and claiming they're real, then no, that is definitely wrong, and I don't agree with it. But if you've got, a farm boy Luke, and you haven't got a lightsaber, and you spend a couple of quid getting a pretend one, sticking it in his arm, and you don't tell people that it's real, I don't have a problem with it, because it's just for your own thing. It's your display, your case, your shelf that you're putting stuff on. I don't know, if you then go on to eBay or wherever it's going to be and go, it's not a repro, then no, that is wrong.
I kind of agree with you there, mate. I kind of agree with you. So that's been episode 63 of the Retro Inc. podcast. And as usual, you can find more from the Star Wars Commonwealth podcast network at starwarscommonwealth.com. We're also endorsed by the E14 network, Emotionally 14. Go and check out their stuff on the internet. And thank you very much once again, Rob, for endorsing us, along with the other great podcasts there, which also feature within the Star Wars Commonwealth network, such as Tumbling Saber and the Nerd Room. You can check out, if you want some more Star Wars news and other stuff, from Generation X-Wing and Rogue Squadron, San Diego Sabers radio podcast, and the Sandcrawler podcast, which this week was fantastic. So guys, if you're listening, really enjoyed your show this week. We also can be found alternatively on our YouTube channel. You can check us out on Spotify. You can get in touch with us via Twitter and, of course, Instagram, which is it at Retro Inc. Podcast? I think there must be.
What's Instagram?
We would love our listeners, if possible, this is a big call out to you guys, if you could possibly just go onto iTunes or even onto Podbean and just give us a review, because that would really help us go up the league there and get found. And so if you could possibly just do that, just make it very short, just put great show, 5 stars, that would be absolutely wonderful. That's all you got to do. So if you can just give us a minute of your time to give us a 5-star review on iTunes, that would be fantastic. And of course, you can come and join all the fun on our Retro Inc. podcast Facebook group, where you'll often find myself and Jeremy there posting all kinds of retro goodness. We put a lot of stuff on there this week, haven't we, mate?
We have indeed. A
lot of everything, yeah. I mean, my retro is getting even more retro than retro can possibly be. I'm going back to sort of the 30s and 40s now. But yeah, some really fun
stuff. You probably
stuff.
Remember that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm getting there. So thanks again for joining us on this week's show. Andy will be joining us next week. He's been a very busy boy. So yeah, good luck, mate, with your new job, which I know you're starting this week.
Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday, fantastic news. I shall be my usual miserable self until next week, and look forward to catching you on the Retro Inc. podcast next time. Thanks for listening. Cheers, mate.
Later.
Bye-bye for now.
TTFN.